Hello comic fans, here's Earl Grey. In a recent video I showed you my art book collection as in fine art and took requests in terms of which artists are of some interest for you and about which artists should I speak a bit longer and show you some of the books that I own. And this video spawned a lot of comments, maybe most comments ever on one of my videos. This was a great motivation to do this kind of thing here, loose series about certain artists. I printed out all the comments that actually really requested one artist, or more than just one artist, and yeah, I pull out today 3 artists and 3 requests with artists, and in the next videos that I will sprinkle loosely in between my comic videos, I will work my way through these. Yeah, the 3 requests that I pulled out of that bowl for today's video. Current Dollar Plastic Ass wants something about Francis Bacon, and I can do that. Sean McCullough mentions some Mervyn Peake, who doesn't ring a bell, but Kandinsky or Cobra, the Cobra movement, does for sure. I will talk about Cobra in a later video, so I will put this request back into the bowl. Same with this request here. Ubapo commented on many things, amongst them another artist who uses sequential photos is Jochen Gerz. He adds text though. I like his work a lot, so I will start with Jochen Gerz. But let's say just in the beginning, full disclosure, I'm a bit afraid that I won't tell you anything new, or even worse, will make some mistakes along the way. So please excuse that. I'm just an amateur when it comes to fine arts, but an amateur with heart and some enthusiasm. But if you can't get out of the something out of these videos, yeah, don't watch them. And so let's start with Jochen Gerz. Eine Ausstellung, one exhibition, and this is a very interesting catalog with this translucent plastic dust jacket. Here is one quote here by Jochen Gerz. Doch der Bürger, der geht in die Oper und träumt von den Menschen. But the citizen, the bourgeois, he goes into the opera and dreams about humankind, the humans, the people. It's a bit difficult to translate, at least for me. So let's remove that dust jacket here. And we have this nice green felt surface there. There's our man here, Jochen Gerz. This photo has to be taken somewhere in the 70s, so he's a bit older, 82 or something. Now, writing is always very important to him, so he's a writer as well as an artist. And some quotes of him, or by him, stayed with me forever, since I saw them under some artwork by him, like, for instance, here. Oh, come on, focus. They called it the image, since it was about those wishes that are unrealizable. So there's this, it's a very romantic feeling in a way that I get from many modern artists, the Sehnsucht, this yearning for something that maybe, yeah, will vanish when you look too closely. This is a good example for that. Here we have Jochen Gerz writing "Live, live, live," Leben, Leben, Leben on the board of some exhibition hall and on the ground. And in the back here is some text that you only could read during the exhibition when you went through all the handwritten text on the ground there and destroy this live there. And the text goes that you could read on the wall. At that point, the same bewilderment overcame her again. Nothing happened. One could have taken her for an onlooker, if it had not been for something left over like an inside shudder, the anticipated echo. So, yeah, I think his exhibitions and his artworks are rooms to think about stuff, our place in the world, and yeah, to give us stuff to think about. And for me, modern art can do that if it's good. And here's another text that's pretty interesting, just as a text, I think. For some time he had noticed that objects were moving away from him and that he could often no longer touch them. He said, objects are withdrawing from me more and more. And this was a text that was added to objects like these and out of focus photos like this one here. Or this huge rock there with this little slingshot there. The stone wants to go back to the slingshot. I mean, what do you think about these is really up to you, but I think there are some artists that leave me just with question marks. With Jochen Gerz, it's always that I have some clues, some stuff that I can make out, get out of his works. And as the comment already mentioned here, he combined pictures with text a lot. So you can call these comic pages on the walls of the museum. And he goes with his pictures and with his art into public spaces, and this is something important to his art. The order that you call forgetting, dementia maybe even. Es ist kein Geheimnis, euer Wissen wird euch töten. These are upside down pictures, if you can see this, and they mean, let's see here, it's no mystery, your knowledge will kill you. And as simple as these statements are and these photos are, you can't unsee them so easily when you view them at some place, and there's really some bitter truth to it. How far we as humanity came with our knowledge, and it will kill us. So yeah, a very interesting artist, and some of his best work are these works in the public space that he often creates in collaboration with others, like here with his students. Maybe one of the best art pieces in public space ever, not only by Jochen Gerz, but in general, at least in my mind, is this monument against racism he did in Saarbrücken in the beginning of the 90s. And he did this in collaboration together with his students. Let's see if there's something. Yeah, here is Jochen Gerz with his students, and this is the place. And what you see is that you don't see anything, because what they did was engraving the names of Jewish cemeteries before World War II on the bottom of these stones here. First, they started this project illegally. They didn't ask the mayor or the city or the police. After a while, the city said, okay, it's art, do whatever you like, but leave it as it was before. And after they engraved all the names of the Jewish cemeteries on the bottom of these stones, they put the stones back there. So you can't see no name, you can't see anything. Only the place is renamed now. The invisible, it's the place of the invisible monument. And so it is in many places in Germany where you can still feel that there happened something atrocious, but it's invisible now. It's not gone. It's just invisible. And wonderful piece of artwork in my mind. I mean, you can say literally there's nothing to see. It's the Emperor's New Clothes. Yeah. We could have a discussion about that, maybe, in the comments. So, and here are some other examples of pieces by Jochen Gerz that he did in public space. But now to something completely different, not only changing the artist, but the medium. Francis Bacon is maybe what you consider a classic painter, even though his art wasn't seen as classic painting back in the day. It was very provocative, doesn't sit well with the society, and it's still very provocative, I would say. This is a Spanish catalog. By the way, I grabbed these books for their reproductions, not so much for their texts back in the day. And yeah, he's very aggressive. If he portrays meat or humans, it's always the same to him. He uses the painting as a stage or a cage in which he shows his protagonists, often without eyes or distinct features or something just disturbed. We have in a museum in southern Germany, in is it Mannheim or Karlsruhe? Anyhow, a painting, and I stood a similar painting about this Pope here. One of the many studies he did for this painting, and it really disturbed me. It's not that painting, but a very similar painting. This guy who sits there in this cage, and maybe that it played a role that this was the epitome of Catholicism that he portrayed there, and I think he had a fair share of problems with this kind of mindset, being a gay guy, and this was something different back in the day. So yeah, he had a lot of aggression in him, and found some kind of refuge, obviously, in paintings and in like-minded painters that came before him, like Vincent van Gogh. So he did some kind of bootleg version of this painting here of Van Gogh. So his paintings are really interesting, how he sets up the stage for these individuals that are all very often beaten to pulp with his brush there, and but it's not these are not only his lovers or friends or random models that he treated this very in this very brutal manner, but his self-portraits as well. This is actually called crucifixion, and whatever is there that was crucified. And somehow it's beautiful again, maybe, in the mind of a serial killer. I don't know. It really has something unsettling. There's a certain uneasiness. You are in awe because of the strange beauty of these pictures, but it's the same beauty that you can get from a medicine book when you see all these photos with corpses in it. You think, hey, the dead body or the insides of the body have a certain appeal. No, I really sound very, very strange. But Francis Bacon was a strange man in the best sense. Here we have a self-portrait by him, and one of his, that was George Dyer. He portrayed over and over again. And seeing these compositions that are very clear eventually, and it's a strange contrast if you have seen photos of his atelier, the space he worked in. As you have to look for pictures of this. It's the biggest chaos you ever have witnessed. They kept these rooms, his atelier, like he left it when he died, as some kind of special museum, as some involuntary art piece, or however you want to call that. So, I guess we deserve now something more, soothing, more candy for the eye. Even though it's heavy lifting. This is not by Taschen, it's by another German publisher called Prestel. This is a very special edition, and on top of it, it has one of my detail of one of my favorite paintings by Kandinsky, but more about that in a second. This is an oversized thin, oversized addition to that book here. Little worlds, and these little worlds are little printings, or not so little printings, that they gave you here in a facsimilized version. So, and he 12 pages original graphic, and it was published originally in Berlin, of course, in 1922. I think these are just neat experimentations with different means of graphic techniques, be it woodcut or linoleum print or etchings. A little here. So you have these abstract picture language of Kandinsky there, and now to the real baby here, and maybe start with this favorite painting there. I put the marker here. So, wow, I can tell you this is heavy, and this is a big canvas, and it's called Impression 3, Impression 3 concert. It's a music concert with a big pianoforte in the foreground. Maybe you can see this. And it's just, I get really a musical feel for the music with this painting there. Maybe it helps you when you see the sketches he did, 2 sketches he did, very loose sketches before painting this piano. And I think I hear music when I see this painting, and this is the case with lots of stuff from Kandinsky and similar artists. I mean, Kandinsky is not my favorite artist, even though I have this book here, but this is maybe just the circumstance that this book was available for very cheap. And when you have glorious reproductions of this quality in this size here, it's almost, for me, yeah, I'm very close to the original in a way. For sure, there's not the haptic quality of the paint on the canvas, but everything else is there. So yeah, let's flip randomly through some of these reproductions here. Woof. And one thing that you will see when you can witness art in this kind of fantastic reproduction, I mean, you can see how small my hand here is in comparison. You see all the details and how precise all these marks were done on the canvas. So you get this this feeling, or I at least, that here was some kind of seriousness involved. The painter was serious. It was important to him. And it's not, yeah, like, it's easy to make fun of modern art, to say, hey, there's nothing to it, and you can't, a little kid can do this. Or it's really difficult to show you these paintings or here these reproductions without stumbling on my contraption there. Oh yeah, and some stuff is just fantastic and decorative, and there was made a big fuss out of the fact that Kandinsky was maybe the first one, or rather one of the first painters who really abandoned realistic details and just played with the means of painting, with shapes and colors and lines and so on. But quite frankly, this is not the most important thing. Of course, when a painter today paints these kind of paintings here, I would say, yeah, so is there something new that you can bring to the table? Because Kandinsky did this here 100 years before. The little words there, these graphics are 100 years old by now. So is there something new? And this is, of course, yeah, very difficult today to do something new when you have all these artists that did the stuff here before you, Picasso and the like. And here's one of Kandinsky's earlier efforts, in which you can see where his abstract marks came from, because some of his paintings are really, no, not this one here, riddles, leaving realism behind step by step, like this train here. You can see that, and the houses over there, of course. But here it's a bit more difficult already. But we as comic readers can easily make our little stories with these. Are there characters? How many are there? Where's the landscape? Where's the rest? Yeah. It's really a beautiful book, and yeah, one of the best pastimes I can think of, aside of reading comics, to pull out some books with fine art and just to flip through the pages. Hope you liked it. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.